Hello, I'm Caitlin Jenkins, the family law vlogger, and today on the vlog I'm joined by one of my colleagues from our specialist children team, Drury, because we're going to talk about surrogacy, which is one of Rose's particular areas of expertise. In fact, Rosemary was the Family Law Associate of the Year in 2019 in recognition of her work relating to surrogacy and legal parentage, so she is the person to talk to. So, Rosemary, welcome to the vlog. We're going to talk a bit. We're going to talk a bit about surrogacy. We thought perhaps the best way to do this was to understand a bit about what it is, and then perhaps do some myth busting, because there's a lot of myths out there. So first of all, so that we don't just think about this as we would if we thought about seeing surrogacy in a book or a film or something, what do we mean by surrogacy in this country?
So in this country, surrogacy at its very basics is another woman carrying a baby for an individual or couple, and that might be a baby that's created with a donor egg or the couple's egg, or it may be her own egg.
Okay, go on, sorry.
But the intention is the child she's carrying, she won't be a legal parent of. The individual or couple will ultimately be the legal parents.
Okay, great, thank you. And we're going to do some a separate vlog on donors and the implications of that, so we can deal with that separately. So let's keep the focus on surrogacy and think about some myths. So the first one is, I suppose, probably is that it's illegal to pay a surrogate. Is that right?
So it's a really common myth, but actually individuals, intended parents, surrogates don't commit any offence by paying or receiving money. What is required in this country, if you're applying for a parental order, is that if you've paid more than reasonable expenses, so things like payments for maternity clothes, maybe medical expenses, other things you might pay to your surrogate in the course of the pregnancy, then any expenses over and above those are authorised by the court as part of the parental order process, but absolutely not illegal to pay a surrogate money.
But it's in those sort of nuanced circumstances. So again, you need advice, I suppose, about what you can and pay for and the way to go about it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So I suppose the second thing is most people see it in the newspapers, don't they? So surrogacy is all for celebrities in this country or abroad. Is surrogacy just for celebrities?
Again, absolutely not. In my experience, surrogacy is everyday people, individuals, couples having much wanted children, whether that's because they haven't been able to have a baby themselves because they might be a same-sex male couple, or whether through reasons of infertility.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so that's very useful. I suppose the million-dollar question often is whether the surrogate can decide to keep the baby. Again, that's often based on films and books and things, isn't it? But here in this country, can the surrogate decide to keep the baby?
So the surrogate can't just simply decide to keep the baby. In my experience, it's very rare for surrogacy arrangements to break down. And actually, my experience has been that surrogates are often really worried about the intended parents not keeping the child and being left with a child that isn't theirs. The surrogate does have to give her consent to a parental order being made. And that's the bit that transfers legal parentage to the intended parents. But if there's a dispute about where the child should live, and ultimately a court can deal with that based on what's going to be in that child's best interests. So it's certainly not the case that a surrogate can just turn around and say, I'm keeping the baby.
That's really interesting again, isn't it? Because actually that might be very different from what most people assume. And so there are so many myths about this field, aren't there? I suppose one of the other ones is quite a lot of people, I know we have a lot of experience of people going abroad for surrogacy. So is it the case that if you go abroad for surrogacy, you can be the legal parent from birth, or is that another myth?
So it's a bit of a myth, but there's also a bit of truth in it. So in some countries, you can be a legal parent from birth in those countries. However, that legal parentage simply isn't recognised in England. So you might, for example, be a legal parent in, say, California if you've got a pre-birth order there, but you wouldn't be a legal parent in this country. So it's really important for anyone going through surrogacy wherever they're going or whether they're having their surrogacy arrangement in this country, that they make sure they apply for a parental order after their child's been born here to make sure they are recognised as legal parents in England.
Great. And do you have to be in a couple to apply for that parental order?
No, so the law actually changed a couple of years ago to allow single applicants to apply. There are still some requirements that single applicants have to meet, the most important being that they need a genetic connection to their child. So it either has to be their egg or sperm being used, but single applicants, very welcome change, can now apply for parental orders.
Rosemary, that's really helpful. Thank you. And I know there's some changes afoot potentially in the law. This is a really fast-moving area of law. So not only is it complicated and there's a lot of myths and misunderstandings, but also the law potentially is moving quite quickly, both domestically and then also obviously these international connections. So if you have any queries about surrogacy, then please do contact Rosemary or get in touch with us via the Mills and Reeve website. Rosemary's details, as always, will be at the bottom of this blog, as will mine. And as I always say on the blog, we can only give general information on the blog. So if you have particular queries, please do get in touch and we'll do our best to help you. But in the meantime, thank you very much, Rose, and see you again soon.
Thanks, Caitlin.